Good evening, people. Just want to work out if the levels are good here. Whether you can hear my voice clearly over the music. Just a little pad at the moment, just in the background. Shout out to Stu Odsey, John Fitz, Miss Renibe, and Custom Coach Works. Thanks for joining. Just going to do some live composition stuff tonight. Just going to experiment at Ableton Live and see what comes out. Possibly for about an hour or so. So if you guys can just let me know how the voice is sitting with the music background, just as long as you can hear me clearly. Just want to make sure that that's the case. DJ New Spirit, how are you, man? Hope you're good. Just doing a kind of relaxed compositional session tonight. Ableton Live. Just got some kind of random chord thing in the background, just to set the levels and see how things are. And I'll just be checking in every now and again, just asking you guys about the levels. This is a new mic, by the way. It's a DJI mic, and it's a radio mic, which is really cool, right? So it's the Lavalier, it's just sitting here. Thanks to Andy Ward for the recommendation, because he's been using that. Mark, no drama, how are you, man? Happy Friday to everybody. Louis Hines, welcome. So this is going to be a real-time composition session, Ableton Live. Don't know what I'm going to do at all. Shout out to Dav3 Murray, thanks for joining. This is literally going to be just off the top, just seeing what comes out, and you guys can join for as long as you want to. We'll see what happens. At the moment, literally, I've just got something as a bed. This is not designed to be the track idea. And this is running with a Chord device and Analog Lab, which is an Arturia plugin, which is great because it's got a huge collection of old school analog synthesizers all bundled in together. It's a really great, quick and easy way to find stuff. Shout out to Fontempsky, how we doing? All right. And this is just literally going to be playing around with Ableton Live and seeing what comes out. I'll get started fairly soon. If anybody has any questions or anything at the moment, please give me a shout and I'll try and respond. I am actually also recording this, so it will be available as some form of archived video, potentially on the YouTube channel or elsewhere. Black Habit Music, thanks for joining. And I have to be reasonably quiet, hence the quiet, relaxed voice, because the rest of the house is sleeping at the moment, so I'm certainly not going to be shouting. I think, I'm going to start getting going, and honestly, I've got no idea what I want to do here. I'm going to see how it goes. Literally, we'll start with something from scratch. So these chords literally are just, as I said, a backing, a bed for the beginning of the session. So let me just take this away. It's gone. And I'm going to be doing stuff using a small keyboard that I have here. And I think potentially I can bring this up and show you. So this is the Complete M32. And I've got to say, for me, just having this little kind of handy keyboard quite close by is great. It's got MIDI keys, but it doesn't bother me. Obviously, I've got a larger keyboard, which I use quite often. But when I'm just sat here, just kind of vibing, I don't necessarily need the full keyboard, so something small works for me. Okay, who else we got here? Javier Maldonado 304, thanks for joining. Just going to be a real-time compositional session for the next hour or so. Just going to put some ideas down. And I don't know about you guys, you know, quite often I'll start with beats, get a drum rack up and running and trigger some stuff, see what comes out of that. I might start that way tonight, or I might try to get some keys down or some other elements. Not really sure what kind of a mood I'm in. But what I might do is at least get some kind of rhythmic element together, not necessarily drums, you know, maybe some kind of bed of some kind. So what I'll do is set up a drum rack. So just going to bring this on, and I'll select a few samples that I'll drop in and then, you know, trigger, see what happens. Shout to WDY17, thanks for joining, happy Friday to you. And we're composing in Ableton Live, and just going to see what comes out. So I very often use these drums, these Wave Alchemy drums. So this is a set called Drumvolution, and it comes in collections of different processes. So you have them clean, they've got some layered versions of the drums, also some versions that have run through tape. And I don't know what I'm going to go for. Maybe I'll start off with a clean one. And for some weird reason, I seem to be drawn to toms in terms of my kind of initial thought process. So I'm going to get something together. And the way that I work is I don't tend to plan stuff out at all. You know, I see how I'm feeling when I'm going to do a composition and then see where things go from there. Okay, a couple of new additions. JJ Southside, thanks for joining. DJ Danny Lane and Copper Honey Creations, welcome. Happy Friday to you all. So, yeah, let me have a look. Now, classics, these are going to be kind of like the analog classics, aren't they? So you can hear some 909 kind of toms there. I want something quite warm. Yeah, maybe something like that, which is almost like an 808 kind of texture. I'm going to bring this in. I just dragged that too far down. I'm going to bring it up. Actually, it doesn't really matter, to be honest, but that's the thing about this interface. You've got to be careful where you're placing it. So C1, that'll do. Let me work out which octave my keyboard's at. There we go. So, gut feeling here is it's too long. Going to fade it out. So I'm looking for some form of inspiration. Maybe I'll just play that in. I don't know. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to put together a clip and get this in. Let's just put the this on. Sorry, I've just accidentally kicked it off already. It's too early. Right, here we go. Okay, can do a quantizing. Really not sure at all what I'm going to do, but for some weird reason tonight I've started off with a tom. Just going to raise the level up, the velocity on there. And just let me know if the levels are jumping out, because I'm trying to keep these balanced, and as the composition's going to grow, the music is going to get louder, then I'm going to have to reassess the volume of my voice and so on. BJ Foster, thanks for joining. Emma Lamaru, okay, thanks also. Happy Friday to you. And so there's a tom, right? So I said I need something to inspire me to start off with. Maybe I'll get another one. Okay, that's nice. I like that. Back onto the rack. Gonna bring this down. So yeah, like I said, for some reason, we're starting off with some toms as inspiration. Shout out to DJ Disciple, how are you, man? And everybody, you've got to go and check out his book about the New York club scene. It's fantastic. It's a real education for those of you if you're not aware of everything that went on over there. Very important location for house music. So shout out to DJ Disciple. Hope it's all going very well for you. So I have a tom pattern. So this tom here, the second one is too long. I'm going to put it in the gaps. So, as I said, looking for some form of inspiration to kickstart the composition process off, starting with a couple of toms here. Okay, let me think, what else do I want to do? Maybe I'm going to bring in a shaker or something. So let's go back to the folder here. And these are organized in percussion banks. Sorry, I've got a bit of a dodgy slight cough here. And you've got small percussion. Actually, I mean, I was looking for some kind of a shaker, but there's something quite interesting about that. I've got to remind myself where these shakers are now, actually. Where are they? Let me just try here again. No, but look, I'll find another shaker. So let's just type shaker and see what comes up. There we go. Great. So it was percussion and electronic, but in a shakers folder. Okay, let's get that in. And the other thing at the moment is my quantized grid is straight, I think. Let me just take a look at this. No, it's triplets. Okay, good. So I'm going to play in a kind of swinging shaker pattern. Okay. Okay. It's actually worked out really nicely. The version that I played in. Can bring the shaker down a bit. Let me just cross-reference against the grid with the click. Yeah, so what I'll do is I will bring in a kick. And then we've got, you know, a sensible starting foundation. So let's go here, deep kicks. You can see some of these have actually marked as favourites. Gonna put the other ear on. Let me try that one. Yeah. Okay, let me record that in. Let me just quantize just those kicks. But really, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do record quantization. I'm going to do this on the triplets, and I'm going to quantize this and tidy it up, because I do want it to be triplets, but this is going to need some subtle rearranging. Yeah, it's these two. No, let's do this. Okay, got to rename some of these. I've done it the other way around, haven't I? Okay. So, how are we doing with levels? Can you still hear my voice over all of this? I'm going to bring the drums down slightly now, I think. So hopefully you can hear a decent balance. Okay. Okay, so let me get down two more elements, I think. Let's get a clap and a snare. Maybe that's quite simple. Take away that other clap there. Okay. So what I want to do now, let me bring on a MIDI track and a plugin, and let me have a look. I think I'm going to load up Native Instruments Contact, and the reason why I do that is because it's got a very broad range of new textures that I can start bringing in. And in fact, the drum lab is actually where I think I'm going to go here. I'm looking for congas, I think. Now, the interesting thing that's going on there is the fact that it's loaded one stereo conga sample onto the keyboard, and so it's basically transposing up and down. That's not what I want. And what I'm going to do is go to the kits, and instead, let me choose something different. So over here is going to be more of a kit. There's going to be more scope. And I need to pick a kit that does have the congas I'm looking for. So there's a real mixture of different ones here. Let me see if we can see from the list. There's bongos. Maybe I'll just flip these out. I'm trying to remember which one of these kits had the congas. Oh, there we go. Back one. Yeah. Okay. Okay, bit messy. Yep. Okay, that's working. And what I might do is run these through some reverb. And Native Instruments do a reverb that is literally my favourite reverb. It's called RAM. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up as the reverb over here instead of the default Ableton Live one. I'm going to do this, and then what I'm going to do is I'll bring the interface up so you can see this. I'm going to take the mix to 100% because I'm doing this as a send and return effect. I'm going to take the decay back because I know this thing is huge. And then let's just bring this up. Yeah. Okay. All right. Just going to catch up on a couple of new joiners. Mr. Clark, The Fun Cartel, Love Always Wins. Happy Friday to you, welcome. Cushion Lips, Speed 1549, how we doing? Just doing some composition, Ableton Live, on the fly. So, I think I need some extra drum elements. And what I might do is present something kind of a different approach. So I've got the drum rack running at the moment for the existing sounds. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of introduce a bit more flexibility for myself by bringing on a simpler on its own. And I'm going to use this for an open hi-hat. Go back to the Wave Alchemy collection again. Open hats, classic. Okay, now instantly that sounded quite nice. So now, because it's a simpler and I can take the pitch up and down, that's going to allow me to kind of play something in that will go beyond what I would normally be able to do by using a drum rack. Because on the drum rack, all of the drum samples are at their single pitch. So, okay, I'm not 100% on the actual sample, going to change that soon, but I'm going to play that in, okay. Okay, let's get that looping. So what I'm going to do is experiment with a different sample. So I'm going to flip this down. There's something I quite like about that. It's got quite a lot of personality. It's not really particularly open and long. In a way, it's complementing the shaker. I'm going to keep that. I'll call it shaker 2. Okay. It's too loud. The other thing that I'm going to do now is just do a bit of cleanup because this has possibly got a bit too much energy going down low. There we go. Really don't need that for the hi-hat. I think about 150. And equally, we could say the same about the other components over here, such as the shaker in the drum rack. Actually, there's nothing down there, but it was a little safety net. I do think we need a longer open hi-hat. I'm going to duplicate this, take away the programming, call this open hat. And then on here, I'm going to choose something different. Sounds good. Okay. Okay, so I think, you know, there's a nice vibe with the beats there that has just kind of built up. It's quite relaxed, quite deep, which makes me think the musical elements are probably going to be quite simplistic, not too busy, not too much going on, plenty of space around there. And what I'll do is I'll bring up a MIDI track with an instrument, and what I'll probably do is go on to, I'm going to go back to the Arturia collection. So we're going to go back to Arturia Analog Lab. And the reason why I'm loading this is because it's a very diverse range of analog instruments. In fact, actually there's some digital ones in there as well, but it's a really great kind of anthology of all of the great instruments over the years. So I'm going to be looking for some kind of key sound, I think. And you've basically got all of these organized in terms of the actual instruments that they come from. Some kind of tags that you can use to pick, navigate your way through kind of different styles. And then some banks and also some designers, you know, you've got the sound designers shown here as well. So I'm going to go into this tag, which is deep. I'm going to take a look at the results. So I'm looking for something that I could have as a slight kind of musical sound on top of the beats that I've got already. I have no idea what I'm going to go for here at all. Let's have a look. No, definitely not that. Not that. So really, you know, when you get to this part of the composition, you're looking for something that's going to inspire you. And if you're blindly going through a list like I am here, you're probably going to come across some things that are terrible. But equally, you want that possibility of something new that you haven't listened to for a while before, jumping out and going, right, I'm the sound, you know. So I'm going to just take a look through some of these. I've taken them out of context of the beats, so just literally on their own. Sounds like the beginning of Michael Jackson Beat It, doesn't it, that? Now that's quite a nice texture. I might keep that because I like that for later. Just just going to duplicate that track and instead do something new. Really, I think I'm going to aim for some kind of chord stab on here. Let's just take a look. Let's bring this one up. And at the moment, these are all very kind of metallic, so I think I'm going to look, maybe I will go for a pad. But then again, maybe a synth brass. I'm going all over the place here. Okay. Okay. What I'm going to do is really try to keep this simple. And I'm going to use one of my chord. Funny enough, the Spend the Night track is coming out again soon. And I took the chords from that and put them into a preset here actually. So maybe this could work. I've got two of these. Yeah, I mean, look, the notes are really nice. So what I've got there is something that started off as a kind of slightly bland synth brass patch that I've now adjusted to make the envelope shorter and also to make the filter warmer, and that's now really feeling like it's coming alive in context with the rest of this. And what I'd be inclined to do is to make a duplicate of that. Take away the programming. Okay. I'm going to take the same chord, but use a different instrument, and I'm going to use that as a bed. So whilst the other one is percussive and got energy, this is going to be more of a pad that's going to kind of sit in the background, I think. So let me go to pads, and actually that's pretty damn good. Maybe warm it down a bit. Okay. Okay, let me see how it sits. Yeah, I think so. going to check the notes. Yeah, that's good. So this is adding a kind of a bed, a texture, a warm kind of smooth texture in the background. Now, the problem is because the release is quite long, when the transition is occurring between the two notes, it kind of blurs and messes up a bit. I don't think I need this. So just to bring the kind of context back, I'm going to get both of these working, interacting together now. I'll solo both of these. Yeah. And actually, so let me tell you a bit about the compositional process for me. If you've been here from the very beginning, you've heard that I started with nothing and I've been building up these elements. And generally what happens is at the very beginning, you have less inspiration because there are less things to be triggered, kind of like to react to. So sometimes when you're building the elements on top, that's when you start to hear the things in your head start appearing. So it's almost like they're triggers, almost like a kind of call and response situation. So I'm now starting to hear something that I can layer on top that I think will sound good. And what it is I'm going to do a new track. I'm feeling almost like a string, a single note string that's rising gradually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Triton, which is a Chord plugin that I use often. So I'm going to bring this up, and what I'm going to do here is go to the classical strings. So let me just check the instrument's going to play. Oh no, it's not. It's, I had these two soloed. Okay, let me take the octave up. See how that is. Okay, record that in. Okay, I'm going to call it high string. And now, because I've got these elements down, I start to get an idea about the bass. And when I'm doing a composition, what I'm trying to do almost is to separate the elements into blocks, like frequency blocks. So I've got some stuff in the mids and the highs, but what I'm missing is the low frequency stuff. And yes, I've got kick and tom, and you know, there's stuff going on there. But I think it would be a good idea to bring in a bass sound now. So, and by the way, I've still got this Celeste sound that could be quite interesting for later. So I'm going to do create MIDI track. I'm going to use another Native Instruments plugin. I'm going to use Reactor because there's a very particular bass sound that I think could work for this. And I'm going to load up a Reactor ensemble. Just bring this up, and it's going to be Razor. Not that sound. It's a bass called Barnaby. I'm too high in the octaves. Okay, what I want to do here is just take this down, make it drier. Then also warm this down, take the boost down. Okay, so it's a bit cleaner and warmer now. this is the interesting challenge. The toms are generating bass notes, so there's a bit of a clash now. So what I might do is take the toms, group these together. Now, these together, I'm going to run an EQ over these. I'm going to use the channel EQ. Just roll down some of the bass. Okay, got to keep that simple. Bring this over. Let's bring the other one back. Take off the pad. So you can see how when you're creating these elements, if you get these contrasts in terms of short sounds, long sounds, you can get them working together at the same time. But then equally, when you take one away, then it brings in new energy. So going from that pad into the short kind of stabby chord now works really nicely. And that's where you can get your arrangement ideas up and running quite quickly. Let me rename that as pad. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to see how this Celeste is. So what I can do is bring this down, let me take away the returns to get some space here. So I'm going to take, essentially, duplicate this down. I'm going to take away the pad on the first scene, take away the high string, do this, bring this here. In fact, actually, let's duplicate this down a couple of times, just bring this up. Take the, yeah, let me just do this. Start from the beginning. Actually, you know what I need to do? I need to save this just in case. So let's put this over here, 2023 Insta Live Composition. Look at the funny track names here, that's so funny. Okay, let's do this again from the top. So just trying some ideas out, now flip it down. But actually it feels like it would have benefited from, if I duplicate this, another one, but without these elements. So flipping it back after we've gone with the high string. And after some kind of atmospheric effects or something, I could introduce the Celeste. Experiment actually. So we'll see how that sounds with just the bass. So I think there's a bit of tidying up to do there, but I'm not going to dwell on that. But you know, I thought it would be nice for you to see the idea of, you know, starting with nothing, working through to a decent idea. And what I would tend to do is I would say, right, this is it, let's take a break. I would save it, and then it's added to my list of compositions that I put together really quickly, because I do tend to work fast. And then over time, who knows how long it will be, I would go back to that and then work on it and structure it and arrange it. And then when I get bored, just stop and rotate to another one, you know. So that's how I tend to work. You know, I have ideas that sit there, and then I just keep rotating, creating new ideas, pushing them aside, finishing others, just keeping that rotation going. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for joining me. Have a great rest of the evening, and have a great weekend. All right, just going to finish up some stuff here, and that's it. All right, cheers.